Juventus. We all remember when these guys were European champions, dominating Italy season after season and signing the best players in the world. But what happened? After winning the Serie A 9 times in a row, this is the 5th season without even having a sniff at the Serie A. Teams like Inter Milan and Napoli are now running the Italian show. Let's go back to the 2021 season where Juventus finished 4th for the first time in almost a decade. They were under Andrea Pirlo, former Juventus player and midfield magician, but it was his first job ever. Could this young and inexperienced coach carry the Juventus legacy further? Short answer is no. He was equipped with the best players in the world: veteran defender Chiellini, wonder kid delict, prolific winger Federico Chiesa, Paulo Dybala, and Cristiano Ronaldo. With this team, hopes were high for every Juventus fan. They were on the course for their 10th Serie A in a row. Honestly, Pirlo wasn't that bad, or was it the team that was too good? In the first half of the season, Pirlo's Juventus accumulated their 3 points, winning 9 games, with 6 losses and 1 draw, and 32 points in the last half of the season, losing to the likes of Fiorentina, Inter Milan, Napoli, Benevento, Atalanta, and AC Milan. This was a horrific season for every Juventus fan, but at least it didn't end without silverware. They were able to pick up the Coppa Italia and the Supercoppa Italia. Of course, the biggest problem was lack of experience. I mean, how don't you win the league with Cristiano Ronaldo putting in a performance like this? Other problems that Juventus fans expressed were the squad was aging and they really needed a rebuild, and the Pirlo's attitude was too passive, which meant that he didn't have full control of the locker room. Fully agree with the second statement, but the first statement is just absurd. I mean, you want to tell me that Juventus, with Cristiano Ronaldo and all the previous players we talked about, under an elite and experienced manager, can't win the Serie A? Fast forward to the next season, Juventus didn't take any chance with Pirlo again. He was sacked and Massimiliano Allegri was back. Out of the 9 Serie A titles, he gets Juventus to 7 of them. But there was a problem. Allegri wasn't Ronaldo's biggest fan. He even told Andrea Agnelli, chairman of Juventus, to sell Ronaldo, as he was blocking the growth of the team. Ronaldo left to join Manchester United for a fee around 15 million. When he left a huge hole in the team. Paulo Dybala had to step up. He was Juventus' top scorer with only 10 goals. And with that, they finished 4th in the league. They lost to Inter Milan in both the Supercoppa Italia and the Coppa Italia finals. It couldn't get any worse. Veteran goalkeeper Buffon announced he was going to leave at the end of the season. I mean, how do you lose both Cristiano Ronaldo and Gigi Buffon? The 2 players that gave your club some identity and had some winning mentality. In the transfer market, Juventus really didn't do much at all, with the 2 notable signings being Moise Kean and Manuel Locatelli. Dusan Vlahovic came later in January for a fee around 70 million. But could he really replace Cristiano? These signings weren't particularly great, considering what business Juventus had done in the previous seasons. But at least it was something. At least they were heading to the right direction, trying to rebuild the team. And maybe Allegri just needed some time to get his team back to glory. The 2022-2023 season arrived. I mean, the signings they made were not very impressive. They brought back a struggling Pogba, they brought in Angel Di Maria, and Paredes in on loan from PSG. The season started, and Juventus didn't start very well. They drew a lot of games and lost to Monza and Milan. And on 20th January 2023, Juventus were deducted 15 points for fixing their balance sheets by artificial gains of around 60 million euros. This was luckily reversed on 20th April, and when they thought they were free, they got another 10-point deduction in May for financial irregularities and false accounting. Furthermore, Agnelli, the chairman, was banned from Italian football for 2 years. Honestly, I think Juventus won the course of going back to winning the Serie A, but this was their biggest blow. After the deduction, they finished 7th, missing out on Europa League. They also missed out on Champions League, where they were supposed to be before the point deduction. It was truly a sad day for Juventus fans. This was a season without any European football. It was time for Massimiliano Allegri to do what he wanted to do without any distractions. This, however, wasn't going to be very easy. The fact that they missed out on Champions League football made it very difficult to attract the biggest names in the football game. Inter Milan, AC Milan, Napoli, and even Atalanta were getting stronger. But they improved. They did well. They finished third and won the Coppa Italia, which saw Allegri get sacked right after for certain behaviors deemed incompatible with Juventus values. And with rising star Illich, goal scorer Vlahovic, prolific winger Federico Chiesa, Juventus was slowly coming back. But they finished fourth with no silverware. It baffles me that Juventus sacked Allegri for showing passion as a club that he clearly loves. If there was a coach, in my opinion, that could take Juventus back to its glory days, it was him. Either way, Juventus signed Thiago Motta, who just refused to lose a game, but he wasn't winning either. I mean, just look at the number of draws these guys had. Motta was sacked. At least Juventus were able to win the Coppa Italia, and they set themselves up for the next season, the current season, the 24-25 season. They got a new manager, they finished fourth, knocked out of the Coppa Italia, knocked out of the Supercoppa Italiana, knocked out of the Champions League. I mean, it's all a repeat of all the other seasons. In my opinion, Juventus' downfall was solely down to the management, owners and directors. The first time Allegri was sacked was allegedly because he lost the locker room. And if a star player wants to leave, let him leave. Don't let your club suffer just because of one star player. I mean, look at Pep Guardiola. João Cancelo and Leroy Sané wanted to leave the club. They weren't happy, and Pep let them go. Look at Manchester City now. They're still doing good. Imagine if Manchester City sacked Pep Guardiola just because they wanted Leroy Sané and João Cancelo to stay. I mean, that doesn't make really much sense. So if Allegri just stayed, and Juventus made the necessary signings, and got rid of those players that were disrupting the locker room, maybe, just maybe, Juventus would have never fallen, and they would have still been dominating the Serie A season after season. Anyways, those were my thoughts. You can leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I really enjoyed making this video. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy, and see you guys in the next video.